It's a mega plane, bigger and heavier than any other passenger plane in the sky.
Planes used to be the thing of myths, something that people said could work but never really felt could work on the large scale. Fast forward to now, and passenger planes are a backbone of world travel as a whole. They are instrumental in getting people from one destination to another, and many companies have gone and tried to innovate by creating new planes that fit the demand for increased travel. This includes the Airbus 380, which is the biggest passenger plane ever made, and it's truly something to behold. So with that in mind, allow us to show you inside the world's biggest passenger plane. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. The background of the Airbus A380. You might think that given the look and design of the Airbus A380 that it was something that was built first go-around, but that's honestly not the case. The background is a bit more complicated than that. In mid-1988, Airbus engineers led by Gene Rudder began work in secret on the development of an ultra-high-capacity airliner, UHCA, both to complete its own range of products and to break the dominance that Boeing had enjoyed in this market segment since the early 1970s with its 747, which is still the most popular passenger aircraft in the world today if you'd forgotten. In June 1994, Airbus announced its plan to develop its very own large airliner, designated as A3XX. Airbus considered several designs, including an unusual side-by-side combination of two fuselages from its A340, the largest Airbus jet at the time. The A3XX design converged on a double-decker layout that provided more passenger volume than a traditional single-deck design. On December 19, 2000, the Supervisory Board of newly restructured Airbus voted to launch a €9.5 billion, $10.7 billion project to build the A3XX, redesignated as the A380, with 50 firm orders from 6 launch customers. The A380 designation was a break from previous Airbus families, which had progressed sequentially from A300 to A340. It was chosen because the number 8 resembles the double-deck cross-section and is a lucky number in some Asian countries where the aircraft was being marketed. The aircraft configuration was finalized in early 2001, and manufacturing of the first A380 wing box component started on the 23rd of January 2002. The development cost of the A380 had grown to 11 to 14 billion euro when the first aircraft was completed. And that's just a light look at everything, believe it or not. There was a lot of setbacks for this Airbus before it got completed. But completed it was, and those who get to travel in it are treated to some very nice accommodations,
as well as more luxurious features.
Number 6. The interior. For example, when it comes to just entering the plane, you'll get a view of not just the luxury seats that'll make sure you're very comfortable as you ride in it. You'll see a double-wide staircase that can lead you to other parts of the plane should you need to go up there. Plus, there's the lighting. The Airbus A380 goes above and beyond the call by not just having wider windows to allow for more natural lighting, which is always appreciated by passengers, but when the windows are shaded, the LED lights of the cabin can be used to alter the state of light to make it feel more like a relaxed setting. This allows passengers to sleep or just unwind without having to have regular plane lights keep them up at night. Plus, because of the increased size of the fuselage, passengers will note that even in the most cramped of areas, there's still plenty of room for both your legs to spread around, but also for your body as a whole. So even if you're in the middle seat, you won't feel pressed in by the others around you.
With 2 full levels of seating, enough to hold over 550 passengers.
Number 5. The classes of seats. As you'd expect from an airline, there are all sorts of classes of seats for you to go and sit in depending on your needs and price range. The classic economy class is made for those who just want to get where they're going and yet still have a comfortable ride. Almost 300 people can fit in one Airbus A380 on just this class alone. And though it's the cheap seats, it's ones that also tailor to passenger needs, including having USB ports to help keep your phones charged, video screens to keep you entertained via movies and such, and more. There's also the Prime Economy class, which allows you to have more freedom of space, movement, and a few extra perks that can't be denied when you get there. The special class is known as Club Class, and they're the ones that get the whole areas dedicated to their singular seats, and when they go and get there, they even have lockers to hold some of their key items so that it's not just around them and filling up their area. In terms of the actual seats, all of them are meant to be comfortable, but the higher up you go in the class system, the better the seats. Such as in the Prime Economy seats, where you're not just in a quilted leather chair, where you have a retractable leg rest that allows you to go to sleep without much effort. And if you can believe it, if you go to the higher classes of seats, you'll find an actual waterfall at the top of the staircase. Yep, that's real. Oh, and the Club Class / First Class seat buyers are able to use the shower spas as well. Because why not when you're on an airplane?
And I will be escorting you to your seat.
Hey, let's go.
Number 4. The luxury experience. if you're really wanting to push how luxurious you can be with an Airbus A380, then you might need to grab $30,000 and pick the correct airline that uses them, because one of them will give you a true VIP experience from start to finish if you're able to afford it. It starts at your home or hotel, where a limo with driver will go and pick you up and take you to the airport. Once you're there, you'll be guided not to the check-in desk, but to a private lounge. Why? Because they've already taken care of you check-in-wise, and you deserve to relax while you wait for the plane to board. During this point, you'll get one of multiple meals designed to fit your palate, and you can go and enjoy a spa treatment or massage while you wait. Once the flight starts, you'll be taken to a 3-room suite of sorts, where you'll have your own personal butler to watch over you during your flight and get you what you need. The area you'll have is big, luxurious, and more. You'll even have a bed awaiting you should it be a long flight and you want to get your rest. So it's not for everyone, because not everyone can afford such things. But if you're able to put money down on this, you might just have the most luxurious plane experience out there.
And here you can see the whole cabin. I cannot believe we are alone in here. This is so insane.
Number 3. The cabin crew. While it's true that the passengers are the most important part of the flight, outside of the plane actually working of course, you also need to pay attention to the cabin crew. Usually when you think of flights, you picture a set of maybe 5 to 6 flight attendants or crew, not including the pilots, working everything, right? But for the Airbus A380, this plane has a crew of 22. Mainly because there's a lot of passengers who might all have needs at the same time, and thus you need the help to be spread out. On flights that are of significant length, the crew does a rotation so that they can take breaks. There's even a secret area accessible to just the crew for those long flights, so that they can rest and relax in peace. But as you know, the cabin crew aren't the only people helping to make the plane work. Number 2. The pilots. As you'd expect, a lot of work goes into piloting the A380. So much so that any pilot that even thinks of wanting to do this job has to go through extensive training. Mainly because the Airbus A380 is so much larger than the other planes of the world that they need to go and adjust their training to handle the increased size and pressure on the plane that the various flight elements can have on it. When they need a rest during long flights, they too have their own rest areas complete with beds and access to the onboard entertainment. Number 1. Why don't we have more Airbus A380s in the world? An interesting question you might be asking yourself is, if this plane is so grand and fits so many passengers, why aren't there more of them in the world right now? The answer to that is size, ironically enough. The Airbus A380 is able to fit a lot of passengers, but that doesn't mean that every single flight is going to have a full capacity of passengers. Especially in today's times, it would be very hard to fit over 400 people on a single flight, and thus only certain airlines get the Airbus. In a way, it's too big for its own good, but you can still go and ride in it if you feel like you want a truly special flying experience. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the various elements of the Airbus 380 and how it is much different from regular passenger planes? Have you personally ever ridden in this aircraft? Do you see why it was designed the way it was in order to maximize the people who could be on there? Would you like to ride on this plane sometime now that you know all that's in it? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.